Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or even pre-diabetes recently, or maybe it's been a couple of years, what are your greatest concerns? Is it taking medication long term? Is it what you can and can't eat? Is it losing your eyesight? Maybe it's questions surrounding your weight and whether or not you should lose weight. How much weight should you be losing in the first place? Are you concerned about losing limbs or losing toes? I know that used to be my concern too. What about heart issues, cholesterol issues, and other issues that you may be concerned about? Folks, with the rise in cases of diabetes worldwide, in particular type 2 diabetes, you need to know what to do about your situation in order to experience a healthy lifestyle. But here's the question. Do you actually know how to turn your health around? Do you even have enough knowledge and information to make a change? What do you know about type 2 diabetes in the first place and the potential of reversing it? Is it even possible? I know when I first heard about type 2 diabetes, no one ever told me about the potential of reversing it. So I had no knowledge until I acquired the knowledge. So if you aren't sure that you're well informed, it's okay. It's time to turn things around. It's time to learn and put yourself in a better position for success. Knowledge is powerful. We can't get away from that. And we should pursue knowledge with a passion. There's a saying that goes, we don't know what we don't know. How many times have we said, wow, if I only knew, then I would have blank. Or if I knew back then what I know now, I would have blank. You know what I'm saying? You know, Socrates, the philosopher, once said that true knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. You know, the Bible has a passage that reads, by wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. That's in Proverbs 23:3. How true it is. Wisdom is needed to build a house. What kind of house are you trying to build in terms of your health and your healthy lifestyle? You may be dealing with type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, and your house, if you will, is unhealthy. And you don't have a strong foundation, or you want to get back to the foundation of health that you once had. It's possible. That's why in today's episode, I'm going to share what you should know about type 2 diabetes, medication, diet, and weight loss, and how all those come together to help us to know where we are in terms of living a healthy lifestyle. Again, folks, knowledge and awareness are powerful. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, my friend. What are you going to do with this opportunity? So stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. Today, let's dive into the episode, what you should know about type 2 diabetes, medication, diet, and weight loss. You know, folks, I'm a part of a Facebook group that is filled with a bunch of people who have been dealing with type 2 diabetes for a very long time. Some have recently been diagnosed or recently found out that they have type 2 diabetes, and they're seeking solutions. They're seeking answers. So I wanted to share something that a group member shared. This person's name is, let's just say, T. So this is what T had to say. So today was my first 3-month check-in since being diagnosed type 2 diabetes. My A1C was 13.5%. Today, my A1C was 6.7. So basically, this is that person's 3 months check-in, right? When they first had gone in, their A1C was at 13.5%. Now today, after going to the doctor, and looking at their paperwork, their blood work, their A1C had dropped to 6.7, which is awesome. She goes on to write, I'm down 25 pounds and some change. I take 1,000 milligrams of metformin daily. After today's visit, my doctor was very pleased with my weight loss and thinks if I can stay on the ball and lose another 20 pounds, she may cut my medication down or totally cut it out to see if I can control my diet. So this person was already down 25 pounds. They were taking 1,000 milligrams of metformin every day, but they were starting to see progress. And the doctor said, okay, hey, lose another 20 pounds. And the doctor may cut her medication down or totally take her off of it. But the doctor wants to make sure that she's controlling her diet. She goes on to say that she's very excited about the direction that she's headed, and she just has to keep digging. Well, this was a powerful story of success. This lady T, she's experiencing changes. Her A1C was going down, and this is awesome. And one thing I wanted to point out to you all is not only was her A1C going down, but her weight was going down. And that was very significant. So she doesn't say how much she weighs, but 25 pounds down, the doctor says lose another 20 pounds. So that's a total of 45 pounds. The doctor wanted her to reach, right? A total of 45 pounds down. And then the doctor would consider reducing her medication. So without knowing how much she weighs and knowing what other health situations this person may be dealing with, it's kind of hard to tell where she is. But what we do know is that weight loss was playing a major role in her experiencing a drop in her A1C, it looks like. Now, the medication, she's on 1,000 milligrams of metformin, and not sure what other medication she may be on, not knowing what other issues she may be dealing with. But folks, listen, with her controlling her diet, her losing weight, we don't know if she's exercising or not, but she's heading in the right direction, which is to come off medication, which is to experience weight loss in a healthy way. And one day she's going to be able to experience results, positive results. Now, the key is to have lasting results. And I know a lot about that in my personal journey. You see, in 2018, I was first diagnosed with prediabetes, and I didn't take the diabetes or the prediabetes diagnosis serious enough. And then by August 2020, I had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, full-blown type 2 diabetes. And that was after I was feeling really just sick one weekend and just not feeling my best, was tired, sluggish, frequent urination, a whole bunch of other stuff was going on. And I went in to go get some blood work done. I think it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And by that Sunday, my doctor's office, on a Sunday, you don't want to be getting a call from your doctor on a Sunday. Well, that call came in and said, hey, you need to go to the emergency room now. Your blood sugar levels are, I forget, it was like over 400 and something milligrams per deciliter. So needless to say, I went to the hospital. And sure enough, it was in the hospital that I finally was diagnosed or learned that I had developed type 2 diabetes. Folks, my A1C was at 12%. That was high. I had reached 268 pounds, had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, was dealing with acid reflux. Around that time, I was having blurred vision, shortness of breath, excessive fatigue. I mentioned frequent urination. So within those 5 days of being in the hospital and the doctors stabilizing my condition, I had a lot to think about. I had to think about, what do I do next? So what they did upon my discharge was say, hey, go and follow up with your primary care physician because, yes, you have type 2 diabetes, and we gave you this insulin injection and we did all this other stuff to at least help you to be stabilized, but you need to go see your doctor. So in any case, I went to my doctor and my doctor, confirmed that this is what was going on. Again, I was dealing with acid reflux, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And then he decided to put me on metformin. And I was also taking Novolog. I was taking an insulin injection in my gut, like I think 3 times a day or twice a day. Folks, I was taking a lot of medication. And my doctor said that I was going to be on meds long term, basically for the rest of my life if I didn't make changes, right? And I didn't like that, man. I did not like to know that I would be on medication for the rest of my life. Now, I'm not an anti-meds person, but I don't believe we need to take medication just to be taking medication. I don't want, like when I get a headache, I don't just automatically run to take, an aspirin or something like that. I don't want that to be an automatic thing. I believe our bodies are designed to heal itself. But, medication can aid in helping us to get back to normal, to help stabilize us in certain respects. But you get what I'm saying. So, yes, I was prescribed a bunch of medication to deal with all the things that I was dealing with, the acid reflux, the high cholesterol, the blood pressure, and on top of that, type 2 diabetes, right? The doctor said, hey, you need to make some changes, but, in the meantime, go ahead and take these medications. This is how you take it, how often you should take it. This one you take with food. This one you don't need to take with food. And it was all these different instructions on these sheets of paper. So I was spending a lot of money on medication. And on top of that, I was like, okay, I'm overweight. I'm dealing with all of these challenges and I need to do something. So by June 2021, that's when I seriously decided to start exercising. And I remember my first day in the gym was June 7th or June 8th of 2021. That was my first day back in the gym, I should say, after years and years and years of not being in the gym, right? So June 2021, I started going to the gym 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and so forth. And it would be sporadic, off and on. And around that time, I decided, you know what? I'm going to change my eating habits. So with the knowledge that I had at the time, I was like, okay, I know I need to cut back on rice. I know I need to cut back on breads, pasta, and potatoes. So I'm just going to eat a lot of baked chicken and broccoli. I think I used to just make baked chicken and broccoli for dinner, that is. And I would eat like a salad for lunch or something like that. But that's all I knew. I was like, okay, let me at least start with the things that I knew to do. And that's where the eating lots of salad would come in. But I would still pour on a bunch of salad dressing because I didn't know any better. I thought I was just eating healthy by eating just a salad, get something from a local, fast food place. Instead of getting a sandwich or burger or something, I would just get a salad. Okay, that was one step in the process, right? But again, the salad dressings that I had was full of sugar. I never paid attention to that because I had no knowledge of that. So over time, I was able to lose over 80 pounds. I was exercising a lot more. I was eating a lot healthier. I started learning about sugar and the impact of sugar on the body, not just on your sugar levels, but just even how we think and how our brains process information. I was dealing with a lot of brain fog and just forgetfulness, and the more and more I started coming off of sugary drinks like soda and sweet teas and lemonades and sports drinks, the better I felt, the more clearer my thoughts became. But again, that didn't happen overnight. It took some time. So yes, folks, I was able to lose over 80 pounds. Then I would still keep up with my doctor's appointments. I would go and see my doctor, get blood work done when I needed to get blood work done. And then guess what, folks? My doctor eventually weaned me off of medication one at a time. And I want to say metformin was probably the first one that he weaned me off of. Then it was the insulin injections. Actually, it was the insulin injections, I want to say, is what I got weaned off of first. And then it was the metformin, and then the high cholesterol medications and the blood pressure medication. So all those things just started gradually being taken off of my menu, if you will. And I've been able to maintain the weight loss and maintain good health ever since. So as of today, I'm in the best shape of my life. I don't take medication. I don't have to take medication anymore. Type 2 diabetes has been reversed. It's been sent into remission in my situation. And I meet people all the time who are wanting to achieve the same results. And I've met people who have achieved the same results, all by making themselves more knowledgeable. They learn more about their health situation. They learn more about nutrition, diet, exercise, and even medication, and they're living a better life. So, but what's the big deal when it comes to weight loss in the first place? I personally believe that there is a correlation between being obese or overweight and certain health conditions like type 2 diabetes. I experienced it in my own life. I experienced a life-threatening situation when I was heavy. And listen, I'm not trying to fat shame anybody. I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty or feel bad if you're overweight, if you're carrying excess weight. But I'm telling you, I know in my life, and I know other people, many other people, who, because they are heavy, they are experiencing physical challenges. Not just, I'm feeling aches and pains in my knees and joints and so forth, but they're also experiencing heart issues. They're experiencing issues with fatigue, sleep apnea, so forth. A lot of these different things are consistent among many people who are heavier and carrying excess weight. But let me ask you a question, not trying to fat shame anybody or making anybody or any of you feel bad, but how does being overweight benefit you in any way? Now, some of you may have been struggling with weight your entire life. You're listening to this and you're like, Oscar, I hear what you're saying, but I'm a healthy weight. I'm big. And I'm comfortable with that. I just want to get rid of type 2 diabetes. I don't necessarily want to lose weight. I'm not going to push back on that. If you feel that, being your weight is okay for you, that's fine for you. But again, how does your current size, if you're overweight, how is it benefiting you health-wise? Because folks, there is no one medication. There is no one exercise. There is no one diet to reverse type 2 diabetes. It's a collective coming together of all these different lifestyle changes that's going to help you to achieve better health. You see, folks, according to the International Diabetes Federation, they put together an atlas. This is an atlas that they put out in 2021, I believe it is. It's their 10th edition. They talk about the growing number of type 2 diabetes cases worldwide. And I'm going to read a couple of excerpts from this. And if you want to go and read this for yourself and see what's going on worldwide and why does this even make sense? I mean, why is this even important? Why do we even have to have an awareness of this? Well, you go to www.diabetesatlas.org to get more information. But in the atlas, they write type 2 diabetes is the most common type of diabetes, accounting for over 90% of all diabetes cases worldwide. The cornerstone of type 2 diabetes management is promoting a lifestyle that includes a healthy diet, regular physical activity, smoking cessation, basically quitting smoking, and the maintenance of healthy body weight. That's very important. So again, if you want to manage type 2 diabetes, this is what they say. The cornerstone of type 2 diabetes management is the promoting of a lifestyle that includes a healthy diet, regular physical activity, smoking cessation, and maintenance of healthy body weight. The atlas goes on to say beyond controlling blood glucose levels, basically blood sugar levels, it is critically important to manage blood pressure and blood cholesterol levels and to assess control of these risk factors on a regular basis, at least annually. That's your regular annual checkups. You see what I'm saying? They say regular screenings for the development of early diabetic complications such as kidney disease, retinopathy, neuropathy, peripheral artery disease. That's where folks end up getting heart attacks and so forth because their arteries get clogged up. And foot ulcerations will allow preventative treatments where available to prevent the development and progression of these complications. With regular checkups and effective lifestyle management, as well as medication, if required, people with type 2 diabetes can lead long and healthy lives. Now, this is what the IDF says, right? And this has been proven in so many people's lives, including my own. Like I always say, folks, I'm not somebody who's a physician. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian, but I am simply a guy who used to be 268 pounds, diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, was dealing with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, acid reflux, and a bunch of other things. And I was at risk of getting a heart attack and dying early at age 46, 47. But I decided to change. And I decided to increase my knowledge because I didn't want to die because of type 2 diabetes. I know people who have died because of type 2 diabetes complications. I know people who have lost limbs because of type 2 diabetes complications. I've heard of people going blind because of type 2 diabetes. So folks, type 2 diabetes is growing worldwide. But like I said at the top of this episode, today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with this opportunity that you've been given? You see, I was given a second chance at life, I believe, folks. And because I've been given that second chance, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to create a platform where I can create a greater awareness of type 2 diabetes and the possibility of improving our health, including reversing the condition. You see, so when it comes to you going to the doctor, you getting on medication, your nutrition, your exercise, and other lifestyle changes, there's some things that you need to know, folks. There's some things that you have to grow in your understanding concerning if you want to experience better health. You see, folks, I don't want to go back to the health that I had before I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I want to have better health. I want to be better physically than I was 10, 20 years ago. Because, yeah, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't really exercising. I was just going about my day-to-day life. I'm in my 50s now. I'm actually 51. Just turned 51 this year. And I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm stronger. No, I'm not muscle bound. I don't want to be. I don't have to be. But I'm stronger. I'm also wiser. I'm healthier. Folks, I'm telling you, there's something about increasing our knowledge, increasing our understanding, increasing our awareness about health and the things that we're putting in our bodies and what we're doing to our bodies that makes a big difference. So here's some questions I think you should be asking and some knowledge that I think you should be seeking on your own to improve your own health. Now, when it comes to medicine and your doctor, I want you to ask your doctor and I want you to find out what is your current A1C level and what most likely contributed to it being at that level. And you may already know that. You may already know what your A1C is. I knew mine was 12%. I never knew to even ask that. I never even knew what an A1C was until it was brought to my attention. So going from an A1C of 12% down to 5.5, I think it was 5.3%. I mean, that was a big jump over a period of time. And getting to the point of no longer needing medication, man, that was great. So in terms of you and your medication, it's okay. Ask your doctor a bunch of questions before you just go out and just spend a lot of money on this medication. There's things that you want to know. Don't just blanket take the advice of the doctor, start taking medication without you understanding what you're putting in your body. So ask your doctor, why am I being prescribed this particular medication? It could be metformin, it could be Ozempic. There's a bunch of medication out there, but you want to ask, why am I being prescribed this particular medication? Ask follow-up questions. Well, what is the success rate of these medications? Will this medication help to improve my health or temporarily treat my condition? You want to know, is this something that's a long-term that you have to be on long-term? Or is this something that's just temporary? You need to know that. What are the side effects? What side effects can I expect? That's what you want to know. How long should I take this medication? I'm not talking about how long, like in one day. I'm talking about throughout your treatment. You need to have clear understanding of what you're putting in your body and how long you have to do this. You want to know what are the potential side effects, like I mentioned earlier. And then you also want to ask this very important question. What can I do to eventually be weaned off of this medication? Just like the story of T from that Facebook group, her doctor told her, hey, start losing this amount of weight and we'll start looking at weaning you off the medication. At least she had a doctor that was honest with her and said, hey, we can start tapering you off of this medication, but you have to do X, Y, Z. Let's look at X, Y, Z, in terms of weight loss and then come back. You see what I'm saying? So for you, you want to know, can you be weaned off of this medication? How so? What will it take? I remember my doctor, he said to me when I asked him that question, he said, you're going to be on that medication till your name is on the tombstone. So he's a funny kind of guy. He's trying to be humorous, but underlying what he was saying was, if you don't make changes to your lifestyle, you're going to be taking medication for the rest of your life. So that was enough for me. I was like, no. Okay. So now this is covering medical advice from your doctor and so forth, and the things that you need to know. There's a bunch of other questions and follow-up questions you may have. I say ask a ton of questions. Ask, is this going to have any effect on my kidneys, on my pancreas, on my liver? You want to know all of this. If I take this medication, what damage could happen to my body over time? There was one medication that I was taking. I want to say that it was for either cholesterol or blood pressure that he said, hey, you don't want to take this for long term because it could do some damage to your liver. So I'm like, okay, that was good enough information for me to make some changes. Now let's talk about nutrition. It's important to increase your knowledge and understanding about foods that your body needs versus foods that your body does not need. I want you to become a student of your own nutrition. I want you to not just focus on, I need to eat healthy. So that means, I just need to eat a bunch of salads because that's what eating healthy means, just eating a bunch of salads and not eating fried foods. No, not necessarily. And let me say this about eating salads. Yeah, you want to eat salads. That may be something that you enjoy doing or you want to start incorporating. But listen, eat salads that includes foods that you actually do like, that you know for sure are going to improve your health. So don't just eat a salad that has romaine lettuce just because it's a salad. Don't just eat salad just to be eating salad, because I've seen some ready-made salads at the grocery store that has a ham in it, that has cheese in it, that has a whole bunch of other stuff that really, to me, will cancel out the whole purpose of the salad. So again, you may eat a salad. Will spinach or kale salads be a better option for you? Because spinach and kale have a greater degree or greater amount of vitamins and minerals that your body actually needs. I prefer spinach and kale salads over romaine lettuce. I like darker leafy greens versus the lighter ones. There's just more, they're more packed with antioxidants, more vitamins, they're vitamin rich. I've learned so much about dark leafy greens, some I hadn't even heard about, like Swiss chard, full of magnesium. Oh my gosh, and magnesium helps to regulate your moods and sleep and responsible for a whole bunch of other internal processes that we can benefit from. My point is, don't just eat a salad just because someone says eat a salad. Know what you're putting in your body. Folks, there is no one specific, one size fits all diet program to reverse type 2 diabetes. Let me say that. But what you can eat will impact your health, good or bad. For some of you, you may say, okay, I need more help. I don't know where to begin with my research. And I don't know, because there's so much information out there, it's just so confusing. Okay, I get that. Been there, done that myself. You may want to consult a registered dietitian or nutritionist, because they can help you to come up with a guided plan, a guided program to help you to jumpstart your health and nutrition. But you may say, well, Oscar, I can't afford one. I can't, I don't have that disposable income where I can just go ahead and just do whatever I need to and just spend all this money on a nutritionist or a dietitian. Okay, I get it. There's no problem. I didn't hire a nutritionist. I didn't hire a dietitian, but I know some people who have. I know a dietitian. I know several nutritionists that I would definitely recommend getting on their program. So if you can't afford one right now, you're not in a position to do it, or you just simply don't want to spend the extra money on that, it's okay. But you still need to become a student of nutrition. I still recommend that you do the research yourself. Find out. Folks, I have an entire library of books and articles that I began accumulating when I started my health journey. And you know what? When I became serious about turning my health around, I was like, you know what? I have to increase my knowledge. Folks, I have books on vegetables. I have books on intermittent fasting, books on juicing, the benefits of juicing. I have books on diabetes treatment, books on weight loss, exercise physiology, you name it. So I'm looking at my shelf right now, and I have a ton of books on a variety of topics. I have books that are specific on nutrition education and nutrition science. I wanted to become a student of nutrition for myself, but I realized it was also so that I can help other people. I have books where it really breaks down what are carbs. Are carbs really bad? Are there healthy carbs? And I learned that, yes, there are healthy carbs. All carbs are not bad, folks. Trust me, they're not. So my point is, increase your knowledge. You can get audiobooks. You can get podcasts downloaded to your phones nowadays. There's articles that you can just download and increase your knowledge when it comes to nutrition. Folks, I believe it's important for us to pay attention to what we're putting in our bodies and the things that we're doing to our bodies in terms of exercise and so forth. But nutrition, for me, is very important. And I think it should be important for you too. The role of nutrition, it's major when it comes to not only treating type 2 diabetes, but reversing it. Because folks, listen, we gain weight not because we didn't exercise per se. We gain weight not because we didn't take a particular medication. You and I most likely had gained weight because of the things that we were putting in our bodies. Whether it's fried foods, whether it's bread and other refined carbs, whether it's eating a bunch of rice, pasta, potatoes, whether it's drinking high sugary drinks like soda, sports drinks, lemonade, iced teas, you name it. So I really believe that when it comes to looking at a scale, we should put, those old school balancing scales where you have the two things on each side where you put, let's say back in the day, they used to put rocks on one end and rocks on another so that they can determine what was the weight of the rocks or stones. It could be gems, gold, diamonds, or whatnot. You get what I'm saying? The old school scales, not the scales that you stand on to check your weight. But when it comes to balancing our nutrition versus exercise, I will put a lot of weight, if you will, into my nutrition education. I think we should learn about the things that we're putting in our bodies. I never heard or until later on that there's a difference between healthy fats and unhealthy fats. I just thought fat was fat, and so you hear all these ads about, low fat dairy, low fat yogurt and low fat this and low fat that, and fat becomes like this enemy. Dietary fat is not necessarily an enemy. It could be the type of fat. For example, this morning, like most mornings, I boiled 2 eggs and I had half an avocado with the eggs. Well, do you know that avocados are considered a healthy fat? They are. When you talk about mixed nuts, those are considered a good source of protein and healthy fats. Olive oil, cooking with olive oil versus cooking with vegetable oil and some of these other oils that are on the market. So you get what I'm saying. I really believe that we should put more weight towards our nutrition than we do our exercise. Now, does that mean you don't exercise? No, I'm not saying that. But again, I'll go back to a statement that I said earlier. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. I've said it before in this podcast, and I'll keep saying it. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. But it is important to increase your physical activity, like we read from the International Diabetes Federation earlier in the atlas that they put out. So there is no one exercise, though. There is no one exercise routine to target belly fat, for example. I remember when I was like a size 44 inch in the waist and, I would look down at my stomach or I would look at my stomach in the mirror and I'm like, man, I got to get this belly fat down. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to just do a bunch of sit-ups and I need to do a bunch of core exercises, some crunches, and that's definitely going to target that belly fat. But you know what? That didn't cause me to lose my belly fat. I didn't get a 6-pack because I did a whole bunch of crunches. No, folks, the way to reduce body fat, including belly fat, ladies and gentlemen, is by reducing your calorie intake. You see, when you start reducing your intake of refined carbs like bread and pasta, you're going to start seeing your waistline shrink. Guys, if you are over 40 inches in the waist, you need to be paying attention. Ladies, if you're over 35 inches in the waist, you need to be paying attention. So yes, remember earlier I mentioned about putting more weight on the things that you put in your body in terms of nutrition versus exercise. Yes, I want you to consider all of that. Listen, I've seen people at the gym who I've been seeing for like well over 6 months and a year. They come in, they do the same exercises every day. They're on the treadmill, they do sit-ups, crunches, they stretch a little bit, then they leave. Same routine, same routine. And some people I get to talk to, and I'm like, and I don't say this, but I'm like, man, I don't see any changes in their body. They're doing a lot of sweating. They're burning, right? What they think they're burning fat. But I'm like, man, what's going on here? Why isn't there a noticeable change between these people? But then I see other people who are on the treadmill, they're on their ellipticals, they're doing all these other things, but I'm seeing the change in their body. They're losing the weight. And when I have that conversation with them, they say, yeah, I start changing what I was putting in my body. I start eating healthier. So again, folks, you can't out exercise a bad diet. But if you want to lose that stubborn belly fat, yes, you should move more. I definitely recommend that you should exercise more, because that's going to help strengthen your body, build your muscles, so that as you're starting to trim the fat, and lose the fat, lose the body fat, lose the subcutaneous fat, that's the fat underneath the skin, and the visceral fat, that's the fat around your organs. As you start to lose that, you still want that your body to actually have a certain aesthetic. That doesn't mean that, you're going to become a bodybuilder or you have to be like this ultra thin and lean person. I'm not saying that, but, you want to have some definition to your arms. You want to turn that belly fat or trim that belly fat, get rid of it so we can see the six pack. Folks, for the first time in my life, I have a six pack and I'm 51. So it can be done, folks. Now, let's move on. When it comes to your exercise, and what about a personal trainer? Should you work with a personal trainer or not? If you choose to work with a personal trainer, this is the knowledge that I want you to acquire. I want you to find someone who has a proven track record of actually helping people. Work with someone who can customize a plan that's specific to your needs. You don't need a personal trainer who's going to give you a cookie cutter workout exercise that everybody who comes through the door that day does the same thing. One of my soapbox is, seeing these personal trainers who are taking advantage of people. I mean, that stuff gets under my skin. I remember seeing this one personal trainer take a lady that looked to be maybe in her 70s, mid 70s, do the same workout routine as this young man. The young man was, a little overweight, but this lady, she's 70 something years old, close to 80. And he has her on these battle ropes and she's swinging her arms. She's trying her hardest, but she's going really slowly. And I'm like, okay, why is this trainer having these two people doing the same exact routines? I mean, literally, and having her to push this sled and him doing the same thing. I'm like, come on, man. Whatever money this guy's making, it's not worth it for those people to spend that money on that guy. Me personally, I've never hired a personal trainer, not because I'm against personal trainers. I have close friends who are personal trainers, but these people, my friends, they know what they're doing. They actually care about people. Just because I didn't choose one, that doesn't mean you don't have to choose one. Again, I'm not against personal trainers. It was just that I wanted to build my own self-discipline. Yes, I could have called on my friends to, hey, let me hire you to do X, Y, Z. But for Oscar's situation, I needed to become my own personal trainer and build up the consistency that I needed. Because guess what? If my personal trainer is not available, what am I going to do? Not go to the gym? I'm not going to work out? What if they go on vacation? They most likely will leave you with a plan that you have to follow in their absence. So that's just something that I want you to think about, folks. Yes, think about your medication and the advice that your doctor is giving you. Increase your knowledge. Knowledge is powerful. When it comes to nutrition and what you're putting in your body, knowledge is powerful. awareness is powerful. When it comes to your exercise and your physical activity, knowledge is important. Knowledge is powerful. Folks, I'm running marathons these days. I'm running races these days, and I love running. But there was a time where, I didn't love running because, I was dealing with a lot of pain in my knees and ankles and back. And so it took me some time to get out there. But it started with me walking and having the desire to want to exercise more. Went on a lot of hikes, and I would go do 3-mile hikes. And those 3-mile hikes eventually turned into like 16-mile hikes. But I wanted to keep moving. I wanted to move better. I wanted to stretch better. I wanted to just feel better in my body. But it took time, folks. So hopefully today's episode really encourages you to make some changes. Because when I started this podcast episode today, I mentioned to you that these are things that you should know about type 2 diabetes, medication, diet, and weight loss. Folks, if you're carrying excess weight on your body, get it off. You don't need it. If you're dealing with eyesight issues related to type 2 diabetes, there's some changes that you can make. I did, and you can too. If you're dealing with high blood pressure, high cholesterol issues, maybe some thyroid issues. I know a friend of mine who's dealing with thyroid issues, all related to their weight, all related to their diet, all related to just what's going on in their body. They're dealing with type 2 diabetes complications and a whole bunch of other things. If that's you, folks, remember, today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with this opportunity? All right. As always, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.